when I came on board here, 9 years ago, financially we weren't in that bad a shape. Our fund balance was in decent shape, but and it's not that Wilkinsburg necessarily was short on funds. We don't have a lot of excess, but I think the problem was there were like 10 finance directors in 10 years. So when you have a high rate of turnover in a position like this, that's not good at all.
It's not good, yeah.
So it took maybe about 6 months to earn the trust of a lot of the vendors out there, but we eventually did, and since then we pay weekly here. Our fund balance has been in decent shape all these years. Our biggest revenue source is real estate taxes. And if you look at how much our real estate tax income has gone up over all those years, it isn't that much, so it's been a challenge to keep a balanced budget. Here at Wilkinsburg, it's more based on historical information. Each department's responsible coming up with their budget. Most of the personnel costs that I do, we have a lot of unions between the police and the SEIU, so it's based off a union contract. And then go back to the department and also put in any fringe benefits, knowing the rates and such. The software system that was purchased back in 2003 before my time, but it had not been used properly. So once the departments put in their budget request, that's reviewed by me and the departments. At that point, it goes before the manager. The manager does their review, makes any changes necessary. Once it gets past that stage, we have typically 3 meetings a year where we meet with council to have them review it also. A lot of give and take on the process throughout, and eventually gets approved, usually in the December time. Some accounts they were not giving any interest at all. We are very limited in government in what we can invest in, and the last thing you want to do is invest in something risky in government. Usually the response is, well, that's your job, but if you would go out there and invest in something bad and you lose it, that would be your job. Trust me. We invest most of our money in what's called PLGIT, that's Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust. Any entity, school or municipality in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is eligible to invest their monies there. I know a lot of towns do. Like I said, the rate of return isn't great right now, but that's where we invest most of our funds. We will occasionally invest in some CDs, but right now we are not investing. We do the purchasing through here. We do have a purchase order system within our Freedom software. So if there's items that are $500 or more, they have to request a purchase order unless it's like something legal or contractual type things. If somebody wants to buy some equipment, they'll put in a requisition. I review it, make sure it's okay, it's within budget. Once I approve it, depending on the amount, it may go to the manager or our finance chair council. After it goes through that process, purchase order is given back to the department. They then have the ability to go out to make the purchase. The invoices are coded to the proper account, approved by the department head, and we pay all the bills up here. Like police department, they'll buy, say, ammunition and such each year. I'm not really involved in that except for approving the requisition. They go out, look for their needs, put the request in, and once again, I compare it against the budget. As long as it meets within that, there's never a problem. Check interest rates. Last year, rates were very low. We had a bond issue that was approaching 5 years. There's a 5-year term of many government bonds. If you refinance within 5 years, it's called an advance refunding. We did do the refunding. We saved approximately $100,000 of a PIB loan through the state, $2 million worth to do street improvement repairs. You don't want to have too much debt and be paying out too much, but then again, if you don't put money into your infrastructure, you're going. So you have that fine line of how much money do you spend on debt and such. I mean, there's certain areas within the budget, especially debt. I mean, that's got to be in there, and it's tough balancing a budget. Debt, you can't cut 1 cent from it. I've got the figures, and each year I'm the one responsible to get them in the budget, make sure it's in there. So coming up with a list of projects, let's say, I was more on the end of, okay, here's where they'd like the money to go.